Have you ever wondered how two of the worst guns in Modern Warfare 3 compare? I didn't think so, but that's okay. You're here now and we're going to find out how the AMR9 compares to the Rival-9 in the category of submachine guns. Stick around to see how each of these weapons perform and let me know which guns I should put to the test next. First, we're going to take a look at the stats of the AMR9. I rarely see people using this gun, and that's because SMGs in Call of Duty don't compare to those we were given years ago, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad. They've been designed for close quarters combat, which means they're not meant for long range fights, so they don't do nearly as much damage when you're not close to your enemies. That's shown when you look at the effective damage range of the AMR9. It's only 16.5 meters or about 50 feet. So if you're engaged in a fight and someone is outside of that distance, the gun you're using loses power and doesn't perform as well as it should. This gun is capable of doing 39 damage per shot when landing headshots, as well as 36 damage per round if you hit them in the torso, which means that you will need to land at least 5 body shots to take down your foes. This doesn't compare to many of the assault rifle options that we have access to, which is why many people claim that the SMGs aren't good. And in a sense that may be true, but I'm here to show you that they can still be very good for close range engagements. The main reason for the negative idea comes from the fact that so many people use the meta weapons, which basically means they look for the best gun in the game and stick with it. It's not the worst way to play, but in my opinion it makes the game much less enjoyable. It's good to try new things and learn how to play the game differently, and with enough practice you can become better than most people no matter what gun you're using. If you look at the rate of fire for SMGs, they can let off many more rounds per minute compared to other guns, which means they are capable of delivering the rounds that are needed to take someone down much faster, making up for the fact that they have lower damage. The AMR9 is capable of firing almost 790 rounds per minute, which is just over 13 rounds per second, which is incredibly fast and just shy of the 15 rounds per second the Rival-9 is capable of firing. The AMR9 also has an average time to kill of 0.38 seconds, which means it takes under half a second to kill somebody in-game, which is around average for most of the guns in Modern Warfare 3. The AMR9 also has a very fast ADS speed and sprint to fire speed, so when running around trying to enter those close quarters engagements, you'll have a much quicker reaction time. With a 240 millisecond ADS time and a 189 millisecond sprint to fire speed, it takes much less time to start annihilating those that stand against you, as well as having a very high movement speed and strafe speed, making it very strong for fast-paced games on the smaller and more close-range maps. The base movement speed for this gun is 4.9 meters per second, which is fairly quick, and that is paired with a 3.1 meters per second strafe speed, so you can target your opponents while moving for cover at a fairly good rate. Strafe speed is a very good factor to pay attention to because of the fact that during most engagements you will be actively aiming at the enemy, which is where strafing comes into play. A higher strafe speed means you can move faster, mainly in the horizontal direction while aiming at your targets. The overall feel of this gun is quite nice, but the fire rate and damage of it is quite a noticeable difference compared to other SMGs, slightly impacting the overall performance of it. However, it does feel very smooth and pretty fun to use, giving you a good option for switching up how you play the game. With all that being said, the Rival-9 is a much faster weapon all around. When comparing it to the stats of the AMR9, the base movement speed is 5 meters per second compared to the 4.9 on the AMR, which is only 1/10 of a meter difference, but that can make a big improvement in the long run. It also has a much faster fire rate, which is countered by the lower damage of the gun, although the torso damage is 31 per round, so it still has a 5 shots per kill average, but that may be affected by the effective damage range, which is 2/3 of its counterpart, 10.2 meters instead of 16.5. The difference in range may impact the way you use the gun, but it's still very well balanced overall. The vertical recoil on the Rival-9 is actually better than the AMR, but the horizontal recoil is almost doubled, which is why the gun seems very bouncy when you try to use it. But in the suggested range in which this gun performs best, the recoil pattern shouldn't negatively impact you as much as it may on a longer range weapon. And if you learn to recognize the pattern, you can counter the recoil on any weapon you choose to use. Now on to the engagement speed. It has a 50 millisecond advantage in ADS speed versus the AMR9, and we all know every little bit helps, along with taking less than half the time to start shooting while sprinting, and altogether that makes a massive difference, especially in such close quarters. It gives you a much quicker reaction time and improves your ability to respond in those intense, fast-paced matches. I'm not sure how well it performs in other games such as Warzone, but it does do very well in Zombies too, especially if you add a larger magazine. The Rival-9 definitely feels much smoother and more versatile, and it's very fun to use, especially since I feel some nostalgia towards it because it was one of the better guns added to Modern Warfare 2019. But bias aside, it's a very fun gun to use, and the knockdown power is pretty good within range, although the AMR9 is a very powerful option as well. Now, a lot of these stats can be changed by using attachments, which neither of the weapons I'm testing have to give them the fairest chance against each other, and each gun has its own set of attachments which may be better or worse than the others, giving each one a significant advantage over each other, but with no attachments they are very powerful weapons that succeed in their own ways. And with the way SMGs are used, the Rival-9 is definitely a little better for close quarters gameplay, but for certain maps the AMR9 may be the better option, especially at any sort of range. Although neither of them are meant for long range engagements, they may still be useful in many other ways when put in the right hands. So at the end of the day, I have to say the Rival-9 is a little better between these two guns, but neither are bad options when trying to find a suitable device to use in close quarters combat. So let me know what you think about my decision because I may be dead wrong. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and until next time, peace out.